So I think it's about time we do the first garden tour of our new garden, because everything is looking huge and starting to produce, and I want to show you guys what's been going on. So this is our new house, our new garden. We built all the beds a couple months ago, and I've planted them mostly from seed, some from seedlings that is bought from Bunnings and places like that. And I'll show you what we've got in here. And we've got a little friend come along with us because I'm 20 weeks pregnant, and this is a beautiful place to be able to come out, and I really want to be able to share that with our kids when they grow up as well. So I put strawberries in. These ones I just got punnets. You can see some of the ants get them, but that's all right. You have enough so that they can eat some and you can eat some. Sometimes I just let them break down in the bed. I love putting in strawberries on like the outside of the beds, so that then when like our nieces and nephews come around, it's kind of a fun little snack for them to have, or also we eat them as well. And then I've got these beautiful, I don't know how to say it properly, if it's Cosmo or Cosmos, but I started these ones from seed, and they are Vesali's red, however you say that. And they are really pretty neat because they start off like this deeper, like deep pink sort of color, and like get more pale as they grow. A lot of these flowers are spent, but it's just really interesting that when they first open, they're really dark, and then they really lighten up as they get bigger and die back. And then there's some perpetual spinach in here. This is one of my favorite spinaches. I didn't grow this one from seed. I just got these from Bunnings because I sort of wanted to get a bit of a head start. I did have a different kind of spinach in here, which I can't remember which one it was, but we also bought that just from Bunnings, and it's already gone to seed, so I've already taken it out and got some more perpetual spinach. The perpetual spinach seems to do pretty well in heat, so that's one of the reasons why I like it. I think it's actually a kind of charred, but we like the taste of it, and it does pretty well. So I'm happy to have that here. And then here we have some eggplants. These ones I also got from Bunnings. There's heaps of flowers on there. I haven't grown eggplants before. And even though we've had lots of flowers, I haven't actually seen any fruit set. Like they sort of just go like that. So I don't know if there's like from what I was reading, they don't, like the flowers pollinate themselves with a bit of breeze, but no fruits have set on them yet. So I'm not sure if I'm missing something or what's going on with that. I have had to be careful with the leaves because I stabbed myself on the leaves when they were younger. It might be settling down, but when the first few leaves that they had like big spikes, like they'd have like two across here, and they were kind of hard to see, but I full on stabbed myself with one time when I was checking out the plants. But they look healthy otherwise, so I'm hoping that they do well. These ones are I can't remember the name of them. I'll have to see if I can find the name. I'll put it down the bottom. But I think they were Listata. They're like a pinky purple streaked kind of eggplant. And in here I put a couple of sunflowers. These are dwarf sunflowers that I planted from seeds that I've saved previously. It's pretty neat. It hasn't opened yet, but I don't know if you can see, but they've got little sunflower heads like coming out from the leaves as well. So that's really neat. There's another, that's another eggplant, the same variety over there. And that's perpetual spinach again as well. The other plant that I got as a seedling from Bunnings was this capsicum. I tried to start capsicum and eggplant from seed, but had a lot of issues with my potting mix. So I ended up just buying a couple of starts. Oh, that's what these ones are. So these ones are mini sweet yellow capsicums, and there's a bunch of fruits on there already with these ones. So I don't know how big they are or how many they are. Oh, this is the eggplant. So I like getting heirloom varieties so I can save the seeds, and I just think that I like getting neat different ones that you can't get from the shops, like just from the supermarket. So this is Listata Digandia. So that one I thought it looked really neat. And I quite like eggplant, like just grilled on the barbecue or something like that. And yeah, so this is also heirloom. They're both like the Diggers Club brand, which is an Australian brand. And they do a lot of heirloom seeds. And I quite like that because I'll be able to like save seeds from the eggplants. Like you let one mature and grow to its full size, and then you can take the seeds out. I haven't saved seeds from eggplants before. I've never grown them before, so we'll see how we go with that. But I have saved seeds from capsicums or peppers before, and so I'll be able to do it with this variety as well if I like it. I'll just see if they're really small. Sometimes I've heard that really small capsicums are kind of like difficult to eat or cook with, just because they're so tiny and fiddly and lots of seeds. But we'll see. I haven't tried them yet, so I'll give it a good go. And then these ones here, I've got 4 dwarf tomatoes in this area. So dwarf tomatoes, also called, like they use the term determinate, and that means that it only sets off a determined set or amount of fruit or tomatoes. So with these ones, I let them bush out. I haven't done any pruning apart from pruning off some of the bottom leaves down the bottom here, because I see these ones that are getting close to the ground. I'd like to prune them back, I just cut that off here, just to help it to have good airflow, but also I don't like it touching the soil because it can get diseases from touching like damp soil and things like that, and that's not what I don't want to do that. The plants look nice and healthy at the moment, apart from like they have like this leaf curl, but otherwise they don't have any fungal diseases or anything on it yet. So I want to keep it nice and healthy, and you want to have good airflow with tomatoes so that they're not all damp and they don't pick up a fungal infection. So there's 4 plants in this area. You can see some of the fruit down there. So they're just small little ones. This is Santorini tomato, I believe. Yeah, Santorini. I got these seeds from my mum. She's had them for years, and so I just started a whole bunch of them to see if I could get them to grow, and heaps of them germinated. So now a lot of our friends and family also have some of this variety growing. There's some little chives down there. I have some chives in a pot, and some of them have flowered and gone to seed, and so I sprinkled some of those seeds in here, and I've got a tiny little one growing in there. This bunch here, I've got 2 rows of bush beans growing here, so they don't grow up tall. They should still get about that high, but I've had some issues with these ones. They had aphids. They had aphids pretty soon after they germinated, and the leaves went all kind of crinkly, and you can see how it's still kind of twisting. I haven't found any aphids on them since then. I just tried to wash them off with squirt them with the hose and wash them off, but I don't know if it's just that or if it's the seeds that I saved. I saved seeds from dragon's tongue bush beans that I grew last year and used them to plant these. So I don't know if it's the issue with those seeds or if it was just the aphids that kind of stunted their growth a little bit, because they should have been producing way before now. We should have had heaps of beans, but they've finally started to set flowers, and there are some little beans on there. I can see one in here, I'll pull it out. So they look like that. They have this like pretty streaky purple look to them. And see how this one's all curly? Usually not curly, they're usually like pretty straight and flat. And this is a kind of nice, you can let them get a bit bigger than this. But this is a kind of nice size to pick them at because they're nice and tender, and the pods haven't formed much inside them. So this is a nice size to eat them at, or even just a little bit bigger as well. They're pretty sweet. I quite like them. Over here, I've got 2 big squash plants here. This one, these 2 are a variety called rondinese, which I can't remember what it stands for. It's something about round. And it's quite interesting. These ones here have 2 flowers. They've kind of like got like a bonus next to each other. They usually just have one. It's a bit prickly. So usually it'll just be one of those. So I've got this plant here and the other one in here. There's heaps of flowers. There's some deep in there. So with squash, they have male and female flowers. So you can tell which one is which. The ones that have the fruit on them, so like these ones, they're the female flowers. And the ones that just have a long stem, let me pick one. The flowers that just have a long stem on them, and so nothing up here, these are the male flowers. And so what needs to happen is the pollen from the inside of the flower needs to reach the inside of the female flower, and that's how you pollinate squash. So you can hand pollinate squash if you have issues with like the fruit not setting. It's pretty easy. All I do is I rip off the outside petals of the male flower, and you can like rub it in on the inside of the female flower, which is pretty easy to do. But so far they've been doing okay. I think there's a couple in there that maybe haven't set fruit very well, but I'll just keep an eye on them. Over in this bed, this is a Nasturtium. I didn't know it was a variegated leaf variety, but it's really pretty. It is, I don't think it's Alaska salmon. That doesn't sound right. But there are some flowers in here that might have closed up. Oh no, here we go. It's really, they're quite pretty. Maybe it's orchid cream. I'll have a look. See, isn't that pretty? So nasturtiums, the flowers and the leaves are both edible. They have generally they have a little bit of a peppery kind of taste to them. I've planted more in here than needed. This is a few plants all in here, but I think they look really cool. I really quite like the funky leaves with that pattern, that creamy kind of pattern there. Next to it, I've got dill, which looks like it's might be sending up. Yeah, I think this is starting to flower. There looks like some flower heads in there. So I'm not sure that sometimes when herbs go to seed or they flower, it changes the taste of the herb. I don't know if that happens with dill or not, because I planted it here because I want to use it for pickling, because this here, these are cucumbers. So I'll keep an eye on the dill and see how it goes. I've already used some of this to make a dip, which was really pretty yum. But these ones here, these are cucumbers. There's 4 plants here. These are a Lebanese cucumber. Here we go. Here's one. You can see in there. There we go. That's the first one. That's pretty neat. So Lebanese cucumber is one of, it is a normal, main one you can get in stores, but I did like the taste of it. I've grown this once before. It's supposed to be a bush variety, but this one does ramble a lot, but it should be all right just in this space. You can see it's already starting to come out of the beds, but it's looking really healthy. we have had some bugs that have been gnawing on the leaves. They look like we've had 28 spotted ladybug come through, which I've seen it on the leaves, and it eats away. This is what causes this. It eats away at the leaves, and there are some other orange sort of more oblong bugs that do the same. But so far they haven't caused the plant too much harm, which is really good. And I thought I might be having an issue with bees in the garden, like not having many. But I did see there was a bee in here today with all of these little flowers. You can also see we've got grass. We've got some grass in the beds. We have like a lot of grass seeds from our grass, and that just gets blown into the beds, but it's pretty easy to pick out. But you can see there's like little more baby cukes in there. Look at that one. This one here. So the same as squash, cucumbers have male and female flowers as well, so that is a female one, and this one here that has no fruits, just that little stem, that's a male flower there. So that's only 4 plants, and it's got a lot of growth on it. You can see there's another cucumber in there. So these ones I have pickled before, even though they're not like a pickling cucumber, and I really quite like the taste of them. So I might try that again if we get enough, which I think we should, by how healthy they're looking. And these ones here, I've just got 2 zinnia plants because they can get pretty big, so I wanted to try and space it out so that they had a place to shine. So I put 2 different varieties in. I can't remember which is which. One of them is Exquisite and one of them is Purple Prince. So Purple Prince is purple, and Exquisite is a pink one. And I can't remember which one is which, but they've got plenty of buds on them, so once they flower I'll be able to tell. And then this one, look at this. Like, look how crazy big these leaves are. So this is also a squash. This is a golden zucchini. You can see some of the fruits in there. So we've had a couple off this plant already. There's just 2 plants here. But like, look how big they get. It's just crazy. And then in here we've got another row of sunflowers. They're the same type as are in the other bed, but I just gave it a straight row. I have had to prune back some of these squash leaves because they can really like block out the sun from these growing sunflowers. I might need to trim some of these big leaves back again. But I've got a row of them going through there. See how those ones in there are kind of getting, like that one, it's kind of getting shaded out. I did want to show you something neat about these sunflowers, which I don't know if it's just a happy accident or if I can save the seeds and continue it on. I'll see if it's still doing it. Can you see that? This is a sunflower, but look, it's got like variegated, it's got like cream on the leaves. I thought that's really cool. So I'm excited to see what this looks like, and I'll probably try and save seeds from this to see if I manage to get a cross or something. So I was like, that's just really neat. And these here, this big patch that's all flowering now, these are potatoes, and they are purple Congo potato. They've been in the ground for about maybe 2 months. I tried to grow some Pontiac potatoes that I'd saved from last year, but I think I'd left them too long, but I think they were a bit too dry and wrinkled. I don't think they had enough energy left in them because nothing really sprouted. So I pulled them out and I planted these purple Congo potatoes, so we'll see how they go. Then in these long beds we've got across here, I've got a cucumelon. I did try to start some of these from seed. I did have one, but it was really far behind and slow growing, which cucumelons can be, but just to speed it up a bit, I ended up getting the start from Bunnings because they happen to have some cucumelons there. I believe it was also a Digger's variety, which was really neat to be able to get it there. So you can see there's some little fruits there, and they get bigger and they look like this. They usually get a little bit bigger than this, and that's as big as they get, so just a little bit more than this. So they're also can be called mouse melons, or Mexican sour gherkins, or cucumelons, whichever you want to call it. But I thought they were really neat. I've grown them before in the garden. We really like them. We pretty much just snack on them out here in the garden. And so I've been just sort of training it to the trellis. I don't want it to overtake that way too much, so I keep trying to bring it back so it will have all of this area. And then I've got tomatoes along this way here, so they are looking really good and they're starting to set fruit. So these three, I have to remember what my varieties are. I do have tags in the ground, but I put so much mulch in because we have been having grass coming up through. So these are Brandywine Pink. So that's a Brandywine Pink. It has they call this like a potato leaf variety. So this is a Brandywine Pink, so is this one, and so is this one. And then this one here, see, this is a different leaf. It's more a bit more stereotypical of your normal tomato leaves. It's not as flat and round. These ones they might be Dr. Witchy's. Yeah. So it should be, I have to get the names right because my places are disappearing. I have it written down in my journaling, mate. Yeah. So this one, and this one, they're all Dr. Witch's Yellow, which I really like this tomato variety. And I want to save the seeds because you can't get tomato seeds from America at the moment. There's an issue with customs. There's a tomato mosaic virus that exists, and at the moment Australia is not letting in any seeds from America. I don't know if it's happening in any other places, but because of that, I've got little blossom bags. You can just get these from the cheap shop. I put them over one of the blossoms or flowers before they open, so that when they open inside this bag, the mesh of the bag is so fine that hopefully no other pollen will come into it, and so that if I save the seeds from the tomato that sets from this blossom, it should be true to type. It should create Dr. Witch's Yellow tomato from the seeds that it produces. Because I'm planting a whole bunch of different varieties of tomatoes together, this is one of the ways that you can try and ensure that you get the tomato that you're wanting to regrow. Like if I save the seeds from any of these other ones that I haven't put blossom bags around, I'm still going to get a tomato. It just might not necessarily be exactly the same as the ones that are on this plant for the Dr. Witch's Yellow. It could be a cross between this one and one of the other tomato plants I have growing. Down on the end here, this is an orange cherry, or it's supposed to be, but see, I've got suckers growing from the bottom and from here. So it's supposed to be an orange cherry. It does not look like a cherry style tomato. Some of these do, but these are more fluted, and that's what I did have it marked as an orange cherry. So we'll see how we go with this one. It may or may not be that. And then over on this side, I've got some purple basil growing underneath, and they've already set some fruit. They're more oblong like that. This is a Thai pink egg tomato, so they ripen to like a pale pink eggy standard egg color, so that should be pretty neat. And then next to that one, oh, actually, I'm pretty sure this tomato is different. It's not a Dr. Witchy's. Yeah, this one on the end next to the orange cherry is a tigerella. So that's what those ones will be. So it's more of a red tomato, whereas the Dr. Witchies are a yellow. I'm trying to mix up the colours a bit because we'll have like Brandywine pink and Dr. Witchies yellow, and then tigerella, which is a red, and then orange cherry. So there should be a lot of colour along here. And then the Thai pink egg, and then this one, look at the fruit, looks pretty excellent. And it is a yellow ox heart. So that one there. So it's looking pretty, it's pretty good. It's the one of the tallest that I have. And then the three next to it, these three, you can see the leaves are big and round and flat again, so it's another potato leaf variety. So these three are triple crop. So they're a red tomato. Again, it's seeds that I can't get from America. So I'm gonna try and save the seeds from the tomatoes that grow from these two flowers so that I can have more seeds to grow next year. Actually, this plant is the one that has grown the most, and it is pineapple stripes, which I do actually want to save the seeds from this one because I have no seeds left of this one anymore. I might be able to get them in Australia though. I got the seeds when I was up at the Sunshine Coast, so we'll see how that goes. This one is not looking so great. It's just sort of a bit leaf curled and doesn't look as strong as some of the other ones. It's a Ponderosa pink. So I haven't tried this one before either, but for some reason, I don't know why, it seems to be struggling a little bit, but we'll see how we go. You can see there's more basil along here. I did buy some sweet basil starts, and I put them sort of along the beds as well. And down the end here, I have a melon. This is a tiger melon, and so it's like a personal size melon, so it's like a smaller sized one, so that I'm going to trellis it up the trellis that I have here. So you can see its little flowers starting to open up. That's one there, so I don't know if that one is set. It's cute, hope it is. That looks, because that's yellow, whereas the I thought I saw a green one. I can't remember what color it is. I think it's supposed to be yellow. Oh yeah, so you can see like that one's a green, little green fruit. This one's yellow, so I don't know if this one's dying or if it's actually set fruit well and it's still growing. You can see even the little things that usually grab onto the trellis have caught some of the mulch. So I've just been like weaving it up the trellis as it grows, because you sort of got to give it a helping hand. But once it grabs onto the trellis, then it'll keep going up. And I do have some parsley tucked in on the end here as well. So it's getting pretty dark, but that's everything we've got in the garden for this new gardening season, in the new beds at the new house. So it's really exciting to see that going, and I'm sure it's going to change really quickly, and I'm hoping to harvest more things soon, and I'll take you along on the journey with me as we discover more about that.